Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a short little knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Kizer Cryptid button lock, a very generic but very utilitarian and relatively inexpensive pocket knife. I will link it right down in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks so much to Kizer for sending this in for me to take a look at and share with you guys. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this knife. It's not a huge knife, but then again, not what I'd call a tiny knife either. Overall length is coming in at about 6.75 inches. Blade length is right on the line, right at 3 inches. Cutting edge, 2.5 inches. How about some size comparisons? Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others. So up against the AD10 and the, sorry, I had a little trouble getting it out of the pouch there, AD20.5. You can see here, it is on the smaller side. I still, ergonomically, it doesn't feel that way, and I'll explain here in a second. Cutting edge is actually just a little bit shorter than the AD20.5, despite being quite a bit shorter than the AD20.5. Let's go ahead and put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Once again, it is shorter, but has comparable cutting edge space to the Para 3. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Reptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. How's the action on this knife? Well, it does run on bearings, and it is a button lock or a plunge lock. And Kizer, generally speaking, does know how to do a good plunge lock, so it'll survive the generic triple tap test on this channel, no problem. The action itself is very good. You push the button, it drops. Use the thumb stud, it clicks out. The thumb studs are satisfying. The detent, well, what's acting as the detent, which is the plunge lock itself, is actually really nice. You don't normally get a clicky plunge lock, but it feels good, snaps into the open position. Everything feels like it's positioned correctly. I think that these studs are initially a little bit cylindrical, so when we finally get up to the point where they're having to, ledge them or step them, it is sharp enough to where if you deploy it like 10 times in a row, you're going to notice it. But for the most part, you're just going to be getting this knife out when you want to, cut something. So it really shouldn't be that much of a problem. It's honestly very easy to manipulate. And you'll notice that it is milled out so that lefties can properly carry it. And lefties, I'm happy to say that this is a very easy knife to manipulate left-handed. Though, because it is a button lock, you need to make sure that you know where the pad of your index finger is when you're choking up on this knife, because if you're left-handed, that means you're going to be putting pressure on that button while you're choking up, and it is possible to disengage it. I'm actually having trouble doing it, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's absolutely 100% safe. If you're right-handed, this is different because your fingers don't naturally fall on top of the button, so keep that in mind. Carry profile, thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. This knife is honestly a hair thicker, and that's probably because the liners are full and come all the way out to the edge. Length and height up against the PM2 and the Para 3. This really wasn't cumbersome in the pocket. It really didn't take up all that much space. I noticed it, I'd say, slightly less than the Para 3, so enough to know that there's a knife there, but not so much that you're going to be thinking about it all the time. Definitely shorter than the Para 3, nowhere near as tall either. And way smaller than the Spyderco PM2. Let's go ahead and get the rickety old scale out that I still haven't replaced, but I'm just kind of holding on to it because, hey, I've been using it this whole time, right? 2.72 ounces, that's under 3 ounces, which I consider to be ultra lightweight, but again, not so lightweight that you're going to forget about it. Considering the blade length is 3 inches, I'm really happy with the ratios there. Balance on it is a little bit back from the pivot, but it's so lightweight that you're probably not going to notice it for the most part. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. Go ahead and test out the pivot, which is almost certainly a T8. Yep. The body screws, I believe, are also T8, which is fantastic. The only T6 screws are going to be for the pocket clip, which I think is excusable. That's fine, because once you set the pocket clip, you're going to be good to go. I do think, actually, the pocket clip screws are part of the disassembly, given that they go all the way, of course, they go all the way to the steel liner, so you will have to remove them for disassembly, but not that big of a deal. As long as you have a place to put your hardware and the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. Let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness here real quick. Come on now. Bless it. There we go. 100 and, I'm going to say 105. Come on now. Am I right? Oh, so close. 108 thousandths or so. Definitely on the thinner side. All right. Meat and potatoes time. I've reviewed a ton of knives that are very similar. Lots of Kizer knives that are similar. Lots of other, semi-budget or budget knives that are similar. And that's why I say this review really isn't going to take that long. It's pretty straightforward, and you probably don't need me to tell you what's going on here. But I will tell you that I was, pleasantly surprised, I guess. It just looked like somebody like, oh yeah, it's okay, it's going to cut, right? But the nice thing is that the knife does what it's designed to do, which is basically be removed from your pocket quickly and easily, deploy quickly and easily, and cut efficiently. The blade is actually pretty thin, and I love blades like this that are kind of that utility blade shape where you can get your finger up behind the edge and do your draw cuts. I also found that it's really comfortable to choke up because the index finger position is complemented very well by not only a dip in the back of the blade, but that jimping right there, which makes me feel locked in and comfortable. Also, given that Kizer generally does good geometry on plunge locks, I don't feel like I'm going to push this blade into a disengagement situation. Just feels good. There's a little ramp back here. If you don't want to put your thumb up here, it's nice to hold it like this. Just felt like it was set up for regular knife person tasks, which as a regular knife person who doesn't consider himself a professional at anything and just likes to walk around and live his life with a pocket knife for convenience, I like that. This works, right? This feels like a knife that's almost designed for somebody like me, right? I mean, I'm somebody who likes to carry some crazy stuff every now and then, but yeah, as far as a pocket tool goes, this is great. It does exactly what I want it to do. I was also surprised to see that the scales are slightly contoured. It almost went unnoticed, but it's definitely not flat. Edges are nicely knocked down. This makes it very comfortable to hold on to, squeeze, right? The pocket clip is flat at the bill, and the pocket clip itself is a little bit further than the 50% line. So you do feel it back here. It's not terrible. It's not like the ones that go up and directly into your hands. It's less noticeable when you're choked up. Honestly, this knife has a lot of ergonomic room considering it's on the smaller side. I wear an XL glove, and I still, no matter what, love to be able to get a full grip on a knife, even if it's not the type of knife that would require that type of grip under normal use. It's just something that I like to have options. I like to feel like I can move around like I'm not forced into one place. And as somebody who has not enormous hands, right, but I guess on the larger side, yeah, it's plenty comfortable. If your hands are quite a bit larger than mine, you wear a 2XL or a 3XL glove, you're probably not going to like this. You're probably going to want something bigger. But if your hands are my size or smaller, yeah, honestly, it's a pretty comfortable knife, save for the length of the pocket clip, which, again, the pocket clip itself is really not all that bad. Let's see here. We already talked about the pocket clip being able to be pushed over to mounted for left-handed carry. That's great. We have lipped and polished liners. It gives it a little bit of a nice look here, right? A lot of times you get like a blasted or just kind of a basic subdued liner finish, and it's blah, it's just whatever. But Kizer polished them, and it looks pretty good in this case. Same with the pocket clip. This color of micarta I like. It's not quite green. It's not quite gray. It looks good. It's not quite OD green, right? Like on the Ontario Wrap Model 2. It just, to me, it looks good. We have a couple of standoffs back here. No lanyard hole. I don't really care about that, but if you care about lanyards, this does not have it. Pocket clip will absolutely carry deep. The pocket clip itself is nested into the micarta, and the screws are recessed into the pocket clip as it should always be. It is hilarious to me how many companies cannot get this right. Nest the clip, recess the screws. Easy, right? Now all that's left is for everybody to start using T8 for pocket clip screws. That'd be awesome, but okay, I'm not going to hold my breath. The pocket clip would probably be made a lot better by just shaving off this straight edge of the bill. That's the only issue that I had sometimes going in the pocket. If I was wearing like a thicker pocket seam, I was wearing some pretty much hardcore dad mode cargo pants earlier, and the pocket seam thickness was sort of getting caught on this bill. The reason I say shave this off is that it effectively turns into a ramp, so you push it into that seam, and instead of the bill getting stuck there, it sort of ramps up over it and makes it a little easier to get it in and out of the pocket with one hand. It's pretty nitpicky though. Honestly, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Let's see here. That's really pretty much it. I mean, it's like I said, it's just not an overly complicated knife. The stop pin is located back here. Is there a little bit of shouldering? No, there's not at all. It's just flat, which is fine. It doesn't need it. Runs on bearings. I think I said that. No blade play up, down, left, or right. No lock stick. No pivot lash. Very smooth and consistent in here. That's what we like to see. And like I said, the D10 is surprisingly clicky for a plunge lock, which is good. And Wow, honestly, no detent lash even with a plunge lock. This is a good knife in a very generic sense. Truthfully, there are a bajillion knives out there that are very similar to this. If you don't believe me, look on my channel because I've literally reviewed hundreds of them. And, you know, that's nice for people not really sure where they want to start or not really sure where they want to go with their next pocket knife. They just know they don't want to spend a whole lot of money. It's nice that we have options, right? This is good. This is not breaking any records. This is not, worthy of any titles close to innovation. It's just another button lock knife that's got Kizer quality. Very good. If you didn't know, Kizer knives are made in China, but they do a good job, right? Blade steel, we didn't talk about that, is 154 cm, which I think is excellent. I think it's right up there with some of the best user steels available in terms of how well-rounded it is, not in terms of edge retention. A lot of people think that as soon as you start talking about the best steels of all time, you have to consider edge retention as the pinnacle, end-all, be-all. I disagree. I want balance on a knife I'm going to be using a lot. I want it to be easy to sharpen, stainless. I want it to be reasonably tough. That's for me. I like 154 cm along with 14C28N and a couple others. I think it's fine. I also think it's very appropriate for the price tag, but the rest of the build kind of screams budget knife. Kizer does a good job. There's just not really anything special going on. When I say special, I mean worthy of the over $75 price tag. 75 and under on this channel is considered a budget knife, and to me, this should be under 75 bucks, about 70 if I'm being honest. So it comes in at 79. Is that a big deal? Not really. It's just the only special thing here is the 154 cm steel, which is appropriate on, knives, generally speaking, ranging from about 75 to 150. But usually you get something a little extra. This knife doesn't really bring the extra, so I think it would fit a lot better. Honestly, 65, 70 bucks, something around there. But it just feels slightly high. Does that mean that it's not a good knife? No. If you pick this up, you're going to be happy with it. But holy moly, there's like hundreds, if not thousands of knives that are competing with this thing. So look around a bit. If you circle back to this one and you still want it, go for it. You're going to be happy, but look around. Look at Kizer's own catalog. I mean, you can use my links to go check out Kizer knives on Blade HQ or on their website. They've got a ton of stuff. So look around before you absolutely decide. But if you land on this one, it's not a bad choice. That's going to be pretty much it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.